Hey, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everybody. Nice that you're joining in again today. We set up our things and well, for the 65th, 65th, that's the Dutch way, 65th webinar. Thanks for joining in, and especially Krzysztof, thanks for joining in. Unfortunately, we weren't able to run this in January. Unfortunately, that was what it was, but I'm very glad to have you on the show today. So you will be speaking about the SystemApp, this system application underneath our base app, and well, show us what's actually in it. And I saw a couple of things already you showed before that, yeah, I wasn't aware of that. So be welcome, everybody. Be welcome to step in with your questions. As always, your microphone is muted. Me, Luc van Vugt, will pick up your questions and will raise them when it's applicable at the point in time where of the presentation or at the end with the Q&A section. So don't hold back and put your questions in the questions window. Of course, like always, recording will be put on our Areopa webinar channel at YouTube. As you can see, we almost near the 1,000 subscribers. So make the news go round that we're getting near the 1,000. That would be very nice. I will do that somewhere this week also. So it will be there this evening. If you're not just registered to our newsletter, feel free to do so and share it with your colleagues. Last week, I needed and I succeeded to get some next webinars in place while I was at Days of Knowledge in UK. I did a presentation together with James Pearson. We will do the same on May 15th and maybe add some things to that. But also while at Days of Knowledge in UK, Vyacheslav did a couple of presentations, and one was on writing code, testable code, something I also started writing about in my book. And I was really pleased that Vyacheslav is also, let's say, picking this up. He's been doing this probably for a long while, but advocating it too. And he will not do his presentation as exactly, but will dedicate the whole webinar on test doubles. What are test doubles and how do they help you to make your testing efficient? So subscribe to those and be part of it. Before I'm going to hand over to you, Krzysztof, as always, a call to anybody out here for any next sessions. I'm doing a lot of work to get them every time again. So if you want to be of help, you're more than welcome. So become a presenter or suggest a presentation. So this is, as always, the slide as a sign to go and hand over to the speaker. Thanks to Fornaf that we can do this. So I'm going to make you presenter, Krzysztof, and
thank you, Luc.
You should be able to share your screen.
Yes, and let me just only confirm that you can see it.
Yeah, I can see it,
be a presentation.
and I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great. Thanks one more time for having me. And yes, as Luc said, I was supposed to do it in January. However, because of illness, I couldn't. So I hope you will enjoy now, especially that SystemApp is changing. So every time we have something new to show and more examples, we will see how many of them we will do today. Before starting, just that you will also see me, maybe or at least on the screen. My name is Krzysztof Bialowas, and I'm working as a system architect and developer. And I'm really passionate about open source in our community. You can find my articles on the blog, and I hope Luc don't mind. I will also advertise our meetings, which we have BC Birinas, but different than webinars. we don't record them, so that's for sure the difference. Okay, let me start to the topic, and I will try to mind the time as well. So going little what is SystemApp, but I would like to start from something which we always see, and that's why it's on the right side. So how Business Central is structured. On top of the pile, we see PTEs, and so pertinent extension, which has some specific for customer for this particular this installation, some changes. If we will little move back in that pyramid, we could find, not everyone has them, but we can find ESV apps, which contains like a additional business logic, right? But which is not part of the base app. If we think about something where we mostly do the changes, or to what we are doing the changes, that's the base app. And this contains all the logic of Business Central, like, for example, customers, vendors, items, whatever you will find. In fact, that's something which is the like a business logic and where we do it the extension. But there is one app which is when you download the symbols, which is on bottom of everything, and it's called the SystemApp. This app was first one on GitHub, and that mostly contains the libraries and common utility tools that can help developers in AL. We see it, but I think not using it so much as we could, and we also not using like most of the features of that. So that's why I also would like to tell you. So that's the foundation, in fact, of everything. Base app will use SystemApp, and ESV will use both of them, and PTEs can use all three of them. So if we will move to our SystemApp, what we can find them there? Quite a lot of useful things. For example, SharePoint integration, Azure Storage integration, camera and image, geolocations, onboarding, even barcodes, and much more, which tells me that I should just show you that. So if we will go to the repository, and as you can see, this is repository which is called Microsoft AL App Extension. It's on GitHub. And if you will open System, you will find quite a lot of modules. So each of this folder is particular module. So you can see that how many we have them already in SystemApp, right? So to be honest, I tried to count them, but it was too much, to count them. You can see there's quite a lot. There is also some explanation how does it work. And of course, we will go to that in a second to see what we have there. But have in mind that everything what you will find in the SystemApp, you would need to go a little deeper to the modules. So what are those modules as well? I think it's nice to know. So you can think as a separate functionality, which is in the module. And very important thing, and I will just read what I found also in this repository, they have stable, well-documented APIs that are exposed through facets. I will explain it in a second. And basically, they also hide the complexity and allows us to very easily use those modules. So I choose to show you this on example, which is very common example, and I hope you're already using it. I will not show this in code, but explain how the modules are built and what you can find them there. So we are in the confirm management module, and this module contains two functions. One is get response or default. So after the confirmation question, I can get the response of that. And the second is get response. So we will see what is the difference in a second. But as you can see, I have just two functions. This module is, and modules in general are quite good documented. and you can see what you can use. In each of the module, you also will find app.json, and you also find permissions. So it contains all the permissions. But if you will go to the source, we will find minimum 2 files always. One is code unit, for example, confirmation management.codeunit.al, and the second one, confirmation manager implementation.codeunit.al. There is small difference between those two, but very important one. So whenever you do the code, you never go to the implementation code unit. You always need to use the function from this one, which doesn't have implementation. And you can see that access of this is public. So it means we can use it in our extensions. And it contains those public functions which we can use. So for example, this one which we see, get response or default. And you can see that it's only doing the exit of implementation code unit, in fact, from the same function name. So it's very quick. This is this facade pattern, and we see those two functions only. So if we really want to see what is behind that, we can go to our implementation code unit. So let's open this one. And you can see that this one has access internal, which means that we cannot hook up to this code unit. We cannot use it. So what is that? Get response or default. And here we have whole logic of our get response or default. So whenever we call the confirmation management function get response or default, in fact, it will give us back what is happening here. And you can see that it is showing if not GUI allowed, then it will just exit with a default value, and otherwise it will just show the confirm. So here is the first thing which you can use from the system app. Instead of always remember about adding is GUI allowed, we can use those two functions if we would like to show confirm dialog box in that case. Right? So as you can see, that's how each module, if we will open, and I will open later one or two, you will see how they are working. So that's how this well-documented APIs, you've seen it through facades, works in fact. And you can see that in this module was only information about confirm management, nothing else. That's why each module is separated with own function. Okay, the session is in examples, SystemApp, so it would be nice to show you all those examples. I have few prepared. I don't know if we will go through all of them, but I will try to show you as much as I can. So let's start from how we can handle documents, files. And I would like to show you two functions which, or two modules which we can find in SystemApp. One is Azure Storage, and one is SharePoint connector. So let me just go first to the Azure Storage. I made some code here, but let me just go to Business Central and show you what we can achieve first with that. So if I will go to Azure Storage, that's my table, you can see that I can, for example, list all containers from my Azure storage, which I have here, and you can see the containers here. But you all already can see that it asks me that SystemApp will make request, external request. So you can see that I'm using SystemApp to list the containers. And unfortunately, if I would do allow always, it will give me an error. I don't know why, but if I will allow once, that's okay. So you can see that I have my containers. I have April, BC, January, and January. this is exactly what I can see here. All right, so that's the same thing. And if I will go to list the files, you will see that I have one file there, and I can download this file as well. Okay, so that was quite easy, 3 functions, and how we can deal with that. Let me just only show you as well. I have one field here. Fine. Let's go and see what we have. I will later. I also will publish those examples. So my page and table is not so important. In fact, the most important one is my code unit here, which I have list containers. And you can see how easy and how little code I need to do just to list all the containers. So the first thing I need to do the authorization, and this is the authorization code unit which is part of the SystemApp. Then I need to initialize that, and then I can just list containers. So that's all. I didn't need to do anything else. In fact, those 3 lines of code give me all the functionality which I need to list all the containers in Azure Blob Storage. That's quite simple. Of course, there are a few other things, like for example, in the, let me just only open this link. In this one, you will not see any pages related to the containers. So that's something which I needed to create by myself. So this is the page which I create as a page container, and this is because in SystemApp you don't have implementation of, let's say, the GUID mostly. As I said, is more the libraries. So how you would like to later show to the user list of the containers, you would just need to create your own page, for example, for that. But as you can see, that's a simple page. I don't need to do anything, just one field here and nothing more which is needed. So that was the list of containers. Very similar is download container file. You can see that, again, I just need to do the authorization because I need to authorize to Azure Blob Storage, initialize, and then I have a function list blobs to list the blobs, and then get blob as file, just one function. To be honest, I don't know what is behind that. Probably quite a lot. If I will just go here and also here, you can see that there is quite a lot of code related how I will get blob as a file. But this is the advantage of using SystemApp. To be honest, I don't need to know that, right? Because I just need to hook up or use one function. So I just get blob as file, and everything else is already handled in SystemApp, right? So you can see that in 47 lines with documentation, I in fact list all the containers, list all the fields in the container, and also download a container file. That was quite easy. The second one, which I would like to show you, is a module which I had a little impact how it's look, and SharePoint connector. So that's also something which we have in the SystemApp. What we need to connect to the SharePoint, we need, in fact, 3 things only: client ID, client secret, and base URL that I will be able to connect to SharePoint. And I created one. You can see it here. That's my SharePoint site. I made in Azure connection to API. That's pretty much standard. And again, I can just list folders. You can see all my folders which I have there. I see also item count, so how many items those folders have. I can just click my webinar. I can also list files which are there. So let's see, we have 3 files. So that's already also taken from the SharePoint. And this is my files which I have here. And I also can upload the file to SharePoint. So this time we uploading, not downloading. So let me just use this Azure file. Okay, so let's see if we have it. Yes, it was imported. And hopefully if I will click here, I will see hello. That's everything what I have in this file. So again, let me show how I did it. Let's go to the SharePoint and let's go to SharePoint management because that's where we find it. Let's start from show folders. You can see that again, I need to authenticate. So I just need Azure tenant ID, which is my SharePoint tenant ID. Initialize because I need to connect. And one thing which I cannot show you here because I was already logged in, it will ask you to authenticate also to the folder, to the SharePoint with OAuth authentication. So you would just need to log in there. And the last function is that I just need to get subfolders by server relative URL, which will give me the list of all folders in that particular SharePoint. And I have just page. That's something which is not in the SharePoint connector, which will show me these folders. But in general, to get the folder list, again, I have 3 lines of code. That's all what you need. Of course, you need to build something to get this base URL, client ID, and so on, which we getting in the other function.
Krzysztof, there is a question from Camille asking, have you tried to use SharePoint connector with certificate authentication?
No, I didn't. But the authentication, as far as I know, is done this way that you can extend it as a interface. So please try. Please try. I didn't try it, to be honest. Right? Okay. Very similar thing with list all files. When getting folder files by server URL, that's the only 3 lines of code, in fact, which I need to do to get all the files. Of course, few more just to set up this. Why I'm saying, because in fact on 60 minutes it will be hard to go through everything with the SharePoint connector. But I just want to highlight you how easy now you can do it. So you don't need to write all your libraries, because if you will just go to the implementation of this one, you can see what is going on behind. So there is someone who needed to write this code, and that we will be able to get the files from the SharePoint. But at the end, we're just using just one function from that SystemApp. Okay, so that was our SharePoint connector and Azure Blob Storage. This is how we can get files. By the way, using the SharePoint connector, I used one more function, function, which is file management and blob import with filter. That's also something which you can find. Good. Let me just go to examples which I also use. Both of them I'm using in our product, in fact. But there are more things from the SystemApp which I'm using on daily basis, and I also would like to share with you those. So imagine that you need to get a picture to Business Central, right? So we we just would like to get a picture from the camera. So if we are on phone or tablet, that's pretty much easy to get. So let's try it. I have a purchase orders, and on purchase order, I would like to get a picture of invoice, for example. So I also have two functions or two actions which I added here. Take invoice photo. Let's see if this will work when I connect it there. Oh, that's working. You can see me now. I'm really nice invoice. And you can see that that's already imported. But what about little modify that? Let's do one more photo and use this one. But you can see now that first of all, I can get a high-end width of my picture, but I also have it in different, how to say, orientation. So how you can do it using the SharePoint, using the SystemApp. Let's go to the camera, and we in fact need one code unit, and we will use two modules from SystemApp. One is called camera, and the second one is called image. So if we would like to take a picture, you can see that it cannot be easier. I just want to see if the camera is available, and this is my code unit from SystemApp. And there is another get picture, and that's all. So that's why also it's so hard talking about the SystemApp, because it's so easy to use. Just 2 lines or 4 lines with errors, but 2 lines in general, and I can take a pictures to the system. Of course, I also need to save it. So in this case, I use also temp blob for that, and picture in stream or in stream in general. If I would like to transform it, so not only take a picture, but also take some sizes and also transform the image. Let's see what we can do. I again take a picture, but then I transform the image, and my image is a code unit from the SystemApp again. I have few useful functions there. For example, I can get a picture from stream to my image. I can rotate the flip, and I just say again from SystemApp how I would like to rotate the image, and then I have a crop that I would like to crop it and get image weight and height and just -100. This is such simple function, and you can see that it's just 3 lines. The picture, I also crop it. So what I need else with the picture. Another example, which is very useful for me at least, is on the fixed assets. I added the function to get GPS coordinates. Sometimes when users are using their phone, they also would like tell where we are when we're doing such operation, and we can just use very simple get coordinates. It will show me my latitude and longitude, and that's Warsaw. It's pretty much working very good. You will see it on the map. So again, easy way how we can deal with that with one function. You can see that we have a code unit which is called geolocation. I can set what is my accuracy. I can just request the geolocation and get the geolocation. Again, that's all what I need to do to be able to get geolocation of mobile app in most cases. So 3 lines of code, no Azure functions, and so on. So that's also what we can do. The next example which I would like to show you is something which I really like. I use it a few times in the product as well, but it also have one thing which let me just only tell what I'm talking about. Item barcodes. You may find on the app source quite a lot of functionality related to the item barcodes. Some apps which connect to the external services and get the barcode for you. And mostly those apps are paid, as far as I see. But you can achieve, if you need just simple barcodes, you can achieve the same using SystemApp. And one thing which I should mention, this is free for, as at least what I heard from people which are more involved in on-prem world. This is free only on cloud. But on-prem you need to buy those fonts. But as you can see, I just created a share barcodes, and I have 5 different kinds of barcodes already in my app. So how I did it? Again, not doing a lot. Maybe I shouldn't say so because my boss can also listen. But you can see that to get the barcodes, and this is giving me 4 barcodes, we have 2 providers. We have ID automation 1D and 2D. We just need to specify what kind of the barcode we would like to have. So from the barcode provider, we say what type of the barcode I would like to get. And let me just only show you the options. There's quite a lot of options already in the system. And you can, as far as I know, also extend it, but I didn't try it. For me, those which I had here was enough. And that's all what you need to do from code perspective to be able to print, for example, EM13 or code 39 or code 129. Of course, you first need to say what kind of the barcode, what number of the barcode it will have. So in my case, for EM, I have this number. For code 39 item number, this one. And if you would run this QR code or read this QR code, you will be moved to my blog. So that's only what I needed to do on the Business Central level. But there is one more thing which I needed to do also in Word, because I'm using Word layouts for that, and I will show you how this Word layout looks. So this is how it looks, and there is nothing very special here, but you just need to use exact font for those barcodes. So in this case, I need to use AD Automation C128B, and for QR code, I just need to use Automation 2D. Those fonts you will not find here. I didn't install anything, any of those fonts. So whenever I'm creating a new one, I just need to copy paste it from the documentation. And you will not see it on the printout itself, but they will be printed as you seen it. So 5 different barcodes out of the box with 6 different lines of code and 1 report. Let me move to something which I also prepared for today, Azure Function. So you also from I think from version 21 you can run Azure Functions, and before that we also could run Azure Functions, don't get me wrong, but it requires much more code than now. So if we will go to Azure Functions, you can see that I have my URL of my Azure function and button to just run the function. So it's connect with my Azure function and get me a response from my Azure function. We should see welcome to Azure Functions. That's all. That is not very complicated Azure function. But how I can very easily connect to that? So you can see that, in fact, I have 5 lines on code, and one is getting the setup. So I have authentication interface where I need to create authentication. And here I just use like basic authentication without any password. But if I will go to this one, I in fact have little more. Sorry, not this one. I want to go to definition. I have little more options for that. Let me also open the documentation here. If we will go to Azure Functions, and unfortunately this time we don't have documentation, so we should ask Microsoft for that, but let me just show you. So we have, for example, create authentication, create code authentication, and then we just specify client ID, secret ID, auth authentication URL, redirect, and so on to get using it more proper than I did it. But for my example, that's enough. And you can see that later I just get respond when sending the request. So just one function, nothing else what I need to do. And then I just get a result as text in this case. I think there is one more. Let me just see what we have here. We also can get HTTP response result as stream or as text in this case. But I think in most cases that could be enough, at least in the easy scenarios. I would like to also show you maybe 2 more examples before I will just move forward. Let's do something which David, I think, was showing last time on the Europa webinar. So we can use that knowledge in Business Central as well. To be honest, I haven't used it yet, but just be aware that you also can do it. So you can use regular expressions. So let's try to find in my text here. That find the text. There is no match for dog, but if I will do dog, which this one tells that it should start from dog, there is match for dog. So the same, how we can use the regular expressions in Business Central in our module, that's pretty much easy again. I can just use one code unit, which has function isMatch in this case. But there is also a few more functions. For example, replace, split, which can be also useful in some cases. So think about the ideas also where you can use the regular expression. But if you will go to the code unit, you can see that it has quite a lot of features. So I can where we have it isMatch, and that was the easiest one. I can also put start up, and this isMatch is quite a lot of. But if I will go little down, I will see replace and so on, so on. Again, some useful feature which can be used. Okay, maybe something which also you can use, especially that if you are creating logs and you would like to have a data which allows you to remove, do the retention policy. Instead of building your own tools related to the retention policy, and I hope you already know this feature in Business Central, retention policy. This in general allows us to add to the to retention policies how many days or how many months we would like to remove the data if it's older than that. But which makes sense, if you will want to add a new one, you need to specify the table ID, and you will not see a lot of tables here. As I said, it makes sense. So if we would like to add our own table to that, or we would like to add another table from SystemApp, I don't think so, but maybe, then we need to do something with this. But the whole mechanism is already there, so we don't need to build anything by ourselves to build such functionality as well. We just need to add on install per company one line, add allowed table. This will allow us to create a retention policy for my table. And as you can see, this is my table which I added, my log table. Sometimes in writing a code for BC, you also need to use some mathematic functions. For example, minimum, maximum, and so on. So that's also where SystemApp can little help you with that. Instead of doing if one is higher than second, I can just use the SystemApp as well for that a module. So let me just do, for example, those two values, and I can get maximum value, I can get minimum value. As you can see, I can put also some other, like maybe this, I need to change our number to get the floor, to get the ceiling. So and also I can truncate and some reminder. So if I will do, for example, 240, if I will do a reminder, I will get 40. The same if we will go to our examples, you will see that there is also not a lot of code to get it. So if I would like to get a maximum value, I just need to use math code unit and just use the function from it, max, and add 2 decimals. Unfortunately, as far as I know, you can only do the comparison of those two, only two values. The same with minimum value. You can see that I just use one function instead of if x is lower than y, then message, I can just use that. The same with floor and so on, and ceiling. This is pretty much easy, and if we will go to the module itself, you will find that we have quite a lot of useful functions there, even sinus, cosinus, and more. Even if you need p. So there is quite a lot of functions, and as you can see, you can find a lot of things in the SystemApp. And hopefully it's okay for you that I will not show you all the examples, but you just know where to find it. Because I also would like to, last 15 minutes, tell you what else you can find in the repository. I think not everyone knows that you can find quite a lot of things there. Maybe not in the SystemApp directly, but I also would like to show you that. So we can find standard APIs code. We can also find other Microsoft apps. You will see in a second which one. We can also find BC performance toolkit there. And we can also find test work, a test framework, something for Luc and something which we had discussion last time on Twitter. And we also can find the system test libraries. So let me show you how we can find those things. Because if we will go to the root folder, AL app extensions, you will find here modules, and this is where we will find SystemApp. But we also can find dev tools, and in this case, for example, we can find test framework and test runner test libraries. And we had discussion with someone on Twitter about using any library and also fixing something in that. So you can see that you also can find the code for the, for example, for any test library. And if you would like to make it better, you can always do the pull request. So that's what we can do in DevTools. But if we will go little different path, and we will be on the top, and we will go to apps, you will find all the versions from Microsoft, but you will also find W1, which the older developers remember, the worldwide version, and for example, APIs version 2, and I can just go and see the whole code for the APIs, which is very useful. Sometimes we're thinking where we can find the code. We can also find it here, and we also can see what were the changes. You can see that not anything changed for 3 years in this one, but if I will go, for example, let's open dimensions, you can see the whole API code for that particular API. I think it's quite useful to also know this here, that you can find that. Again, if we will go to apps and let's say W1, you also will find all other apps, not only APIs, but everything what Microsoft also installing to Business Central, like for example SMTP connector, but also something which a lot of us get at some point is a Shopify connector. And this is also what we can find. We can find the whole code for the Shopify connector in that repository as well. So if you don't know how something works, you always can go here as well and see what changed. Oh, something changed last month here. But I also would like to say something, that don't wait for anything. Be active when using the SystemApp, but also those other apps which we can already find there. And I would like to show you how you can see why I'm thinking like this. I hope Jan and Natalie will not mind, and this is the old tweet. But showing that, let's say someone has some problem, or maybe great idea to add something to the SystemApp, to one of the modules. So, as Natalie wrote here, you can just create a PR. But now most of the developers, that's not only here, but most of the developers thinks, is it not a Microsoft job, or why Microsoft will not do it? And there we have two options. We can say, yes, let's wait for Microsoft. But maybe we can just do it and not wait. If it's easy, if it will help our customers, why we should wait for that? So what you can do, that the code in the SystemApp, but not only, in all those apps which I showed you as well, will make better. You can start from very small thing. Just review the pull request. So see how other people are doing such pull requests and what is there. And maybe you will find something which can be fixed before it will get to the system. The other thing is just make small fixes. There are a lot of fixes which we can do. I can tell you that from our team, each developer, even the juniors, made already at least one pull request to SystemApp, even fixing captions. But doing that, we can just make this better. And the biggest one is add the modules to the SystemApp. As I said, that's the biggest one. There are some modules already built. And for example, this one, which I showed you before, Azure Blob Storage, was built by partners, not Microsoft. SharePoint Connector was built by partners, not Microsoft. And also, as far as I know, barcodes were also built by partner, not Microsoft. So see how many things you can do because other partners just gave their code. There are, of course, benefits, but first thing, which if you would like to build a new module, you rather need to convince your management that it is a good idea. How, for example, I did it, is that when we gave SharePoint Connector as a library, we just gave library, not our IP, which we use in our functionality. But we know now that if there is something, or we would like to have more functions, we can get also people from community using it. As for example, you had already question about certificate authorization. I also know one thing which we didn't do because we don't needed it was delete the files. Now you can do it because some other developer did it. And also we find all other things as well in the SharePoint connector where some of the developers already extending this. So my team is not doing it by themselves, but in fact, we would be able to use, for example, download the files if we would need because someone needed. The second thing which I think is good to ask is ask Microsoft if they really need such module, that you will not end up building some big module and then Microsoft will say, oh, in fact, we don't need it, or we have another idea how we can deal with that. So when you're doing small fixes, that's not a problem. But if you're doing a big module, I think it's nice to ask on GitHub Microsoft, and that's something which I would advise you if you would like to put a module. You also need to prepare test and documentation before doing the pull request, so remember about it as well. That's quite a lot of work as well, but something which can be rewarded later, as I said. And don't be afraid of comments, because there's quite a lot of comments, and that's really good because also you can learn quite a lot from that. Let me just show you the number of comments sometimes. For example, with WebDAV, I don't know what is this module, but you can see that there is 109 comments. I know that when we were doing SharePoint Connector, it was around 170 comments. But it only can help you to make code better and also to make the code that someone really needed. And I think that's really really cool idea. Okay, this is example of small issue which was fixed in this case by Walter. You can see from 4 W's. We may make laugh about Microsoft to fix it, but why if it will just take us a few minutes just to also help them with that. The bigger one, someone just wanted to get table URL information and create a function which also was merged already to Business Central, and all of you also can use it. And the last one, this is this web system module, which someone asked if they would like to have it, and they said that it's a really cool idea. And I must say that Microsoft is commenting everything and helping quite a lot if you would like to build something. Okay, so I have one fix prepared that you will also know how to do it, because now you will not be able to say that you cannot do it. And that's the last thing which I would like to show you. So let me show you something which my my friend sent to me as a bug. And to be honest, we can wait for Microsoft to fix it, but why we need product groups? I will show you one bug which Microsoft have, and we will just try to fix it. Let's imagine that you have very, very long VAT product posting groups, 20 characters. Everything works fine. But now let's rename it. Yes. Oh, come on. And now I see an error. I cannot rename it because table Shopify shop collection map, because the value is too long. Annoying error, of course, is not very problematic. I just can delete the line and add a new one, and probably everything will work. But instead of waiting for Microsoft giving support tickets and so on, how we can fix it? So if we will go to repository, I can fork the repository. I already did that. You can see that I already forked the repository. I can now clone it to my Visual Studio Code. This is exactly what I did before. And the problem is that this product code, group code, and of course I checked all the references, so I hope they will approve this, was code 10 instead of code 20. And this one has, if the product collection VAT product posting group, then take a code from it. So that was the issue why it doesn't allow me to rename. So I fixed it, and I prepared the pull request already, fixed length of product group code in Shopify connector. I write everything here. So this is my fix. I only changed 10 to 20. Hopefully it's not breaking change, but at least I will learn about it. And I can create a pull request to the main from Microsoft, from VC for all, which is mine. So that's all what I needed to do to at least tell Microsoft something is wrong. You can fix it. Let's see if they will approve it or not. You can see it here. It's already on AL app extension. It didn't take me too much time to fix it. And for Microsoft, I would wait just long, but that's because they have also quite a lot of work. So that's the very minor problem, but for some customers can be just very annoying. And finishing with that, thank you all, and maybe you have any question, Luc, to me. If not, then thank you very much.
I do have two notes. And so one from Johannes Wickman, that was regarding Camille's question on the SharePoint connector certificate authentication. He says, I've got an open pull request in the SystemApp repo. Well, you showed how to do that, and I know, and many people probably know that people do, with certificate authentication for SharePoint, but waiting for password support in the platform before publishing, which Microsoft has approved and working on. So that's an answer to Camille, you could say, but also showing, in this case, Johannes is participating in this community part. And Peter Konijn also notes, working on a pull request, aside of contributing code, you can also contribute by doing code reviews. Yeah, so
exactly.
And as he said, I appreciated a lot of the feedback got on my PRs, and much of it was from partners. Yeah, so clear. I think the message is clear, and people are already doing this, but we could be, as you're more or less advocating, well, getting into it more and more, well, get things moving. Nothing else on the list. I think it was very clear. Actually, we're straight on time, so we should stop right now.
Great.
Just a couple of seconds, sorry, to thank you, Krzysztof, to thank everybody for being here. And I have one question remaining from my side, and it's also relevant, I think, to the rest. You mentioned your examples will be on GitHub. I guess it's not yet on GitHub, so the link will be shared somewhere, I guess, later, right?
Yes, I will share the link.
Yeah, so I will get the recording in place as soon as possible, and I've also made some notes on the table of contents, as I always do. And then might you have it earlier than I finished, I will put it with the recording upload onto YouTube, and otherwise I will put it there as a note, extra note or comment on that post. So once again, thank you very much, Krzysztof, and thanks everybody for being here.
Thank you.
Let's say it's time to close off, but if you want to stay for a second more, Krzysztof, then we're going to close down and see you again, hopefully in 2 weeks' time when Vugt will be here. Thank you very much.